One lurker. All welcome. Two lurkers. And welcome to both of you. To you guys that are working a 5 or 6 day week, well, at least to those working a 5 day week, it's thank God it's Friday. How you doing, Grey One? All good. Lurkers are welcome, mate. Definitely been a quiet second part of the week. Where are you from, Grey One? I'm in Adelaide, South Australia. Hey, Lost. Midwest. Grey One. I spent 6 months in the Midwest. A little bit of time in Texas, not much, but mostly Tulsa, Oklahoma. And I have to admit, I'd love to get back there. Beautiful place, great people. From memory, they used to call it God's green country. There's definitely that. Lost. Well, it's got to be thank God it's Friday for you, buddy. Lost. I should never have said I don't like Spice Girls. You're never going to let up on that. Jeez. Still Thursday for you. Dick and Cider, how you doing, buddy? Oh, yeah. I should have thought about that for you guys. It's still Thursday, yeah. Sorry. Friday here, though. Yeah, no worries, Lost. Thursday, 1:57 p.m. Okay. Yeah, sorry, guys. I didn't think about you guys in the US. It's actually 6:27 a.m. Friday morning here in Adelaide. Here's a link for you, Lost. Dick and Cider, you're welcome as well, as always. If you're busy, not a problem, buddy. Haven't been around to see if there's been much drama on YouTube at the moment. Which is, I guess, a good thing. Kind of, it gets droll after a while.
Hey, Thunder, what's happening?
How you doing, buddy? You'd be getting close to the end of your day, wouldn't you?
No, I'm doing good.
Oh, what happened there? You still there? I can't see you on the Hangouts.
Yeah, I'm still here. Can you hear me?
Yeah. I can hear you.
Okay. Okay.
Must be getting to the like the end of your day, isn't it?
It's like 2 p.m. roughly. Oh, someone put it in the chat like 1:57, so I got the same time as the Midwest guy there.
Okay. Yeah, I have to admit, I didn't get to spend any time on the East Coast, but was on the West Coast in LA. The people there, life is just so fast. No one's got time to say hello to you. But at least in the Midwest, people I found were a lot more hospitable, a lot friendlier, a lot more laid back. I found that actually people in the Midwest, Texas, Oklahoma, around that way, were more like Australians actually.
Yeah, it depends on where you're at in the country. I imagine Australia has I would think like every country I go to, like the every country has like the one real big city that people think are kind of douchebags. You know, they're not as friendly and as nice as other parts of the country. You know, like for example, New York tends to get that label here in the USA.
Yeah, well, I mean, I found LA was the same. People, you like stop, say hello, they looked at you like you're about to mug them. Um,
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, because everybody, you're right. Everybody's moving at a fast. I used to live out there for about a year or so, and it is fast paced, and everybody's trying to be somebody. You know, they've got that the pressure there to the peer pressure. You know, to make
it,
something of your life, and you got to keep moving, and it's
eh,
ridiculous out there.
it's a shame that people are. I mean, it just seems to me anyway that people are so busy living their lives that they forget to stop and smell the roses and actually enjoy their life.
Yeah, and then of course there's plenty of parts in California where the people are super friendly. You know, you get out a few of those big cities, you know, kind of the central parts of Texas, for example, are a lot more friendly and laid back compared to most of the coastal cities, I'll say.
Yeah, I'd love to get back there one day. Um, I enjoyed my time in the US. Yeah, great one. It's true. Like I said on the in Los Angeles, you know, people jump back as if you're about to attack them. But when I was in Oklahoma, particularly, and I know Tulsa's probably a small city compared to a lot there, but you say hello to people, they'd actually stop, hello, and then they'd get curious and actually have a conversation with you. But it's
So,
probably
and
sorry.
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you either. And a lot of my travels overseas, and of course I've been all around the states and stuff. A lot of times, I've got to stick to Americans here. That's what I know. A lot of times, the foreigners or in the other countries, foreigners to me, when I'm in another country, they say that they find Americans to be kind of kind of douchey, like we're kind of better than everybody, which
Do you
I
know
don't
that?
know what it is. When people go on vacation, I don't know. I guess you just want to have a good time. You just however it works out. But my wife, when she came here, she was like, Americans are nothing like what I thought. I mean, she sees like when
Yes.
she first got here, she's like, everybody waves at you when you drive by. Everybody says, well, now that's not everywhere in America. Don't get me wrong, but majority of America's like this. You know,
High
people will be
passport.
friendly and say hello.
Yeah, look, I was
Go ahead.
just gonna say, how you doing, Passport TV? Um, in Australia, those people that haven't travelled have that sort of opinion of Americans being very arrogant, and it's I didn't find Americans that way at all, but I think they get judged on the media. I mean, the the media is responsible for so much bloody shit. Um, and a lot of Australians only see what the media puts out there. That's true, Dick and Cider. I did find that Americans are raised isolated from the world, um, and I can understand it to an extent when at schools you're
Well,
taught American
all,
history and.
Yeah, Australians are too. I mean, y'all are pretty isolated like us.
No, not really. We tend to. I remember at school we learned the
Well, I
history.
mean, isolated to the fact it's not easy to visit another country. I mean, we only border two countries, and for example, if you're not near Canada or Mexico, more than likely you've never been there, unless you took a vacation down to Cancun or Niagara Falls or something like that.
Oh no, no, I was talking about like education wise. We at school we learn about Europe, the US, and things like that. But in
Oh, okay, I understand.
American schools, you tend to just learn about your own history. Um, I,
Mostly that's true. We do have world history classes, but yeah, we definitely have more of an emphasis on American history for sure.
and I don't have a problem with that, but I think to get well-rounded people, I think you need to teach um, you know a little bit of everything. It's I think anyway to be well-rounded. Otherwise, there is that sort of that isolated.
Well, you can
Uh,
also teach. You can also teach history, but that doesn't mean you will understand a culture. Um, I think to a certain degree you can. For example, the saving faith thing, you can understand that, but until you see it in action, is when kind of things kind of like, oh, that's what that means. Now I truly understand it because I've seen it in action.
I tell you what, and it's maybe not your generation or the generation that's in the chat at the moment, but the younger generation in America, their geography is horrible, and I've seen that demonstrated on YouTube with people getting interviewed, younger people being interviewed about geography questions, and it's amazing how bad their geography is.
Because not too long ago, my wife finally got her citizenship, and I was looking a bunch of stuff online, helping her study that kind of stuff. So I forget what it is. It's like 85% of all the immigrants can pass that test, but only like I think it was like 49% of Americans, if you were just to ask them the questions, they can't. Only 49% of them can pass the test. It's crazy.
I think you're probably an exception to the rule. I mean, given your age, because you're not in that younger generation anymore, but the fact that you've travelled and you've been around the world and seen different cultures and experienced different things, so you've
It does. It definitely opens your eyes up. But I mean, naturally, when I was young, when I hadn't experienced a whole lot of life yet, I probably couldn't have told you certain things, I suppose. But of course, I've always had an interest in world history and like those type of things. So I guess I'm kind of a little exception to the rule a little bit.
yeah, yeah. Hey, how you doing, Big Kev? Welcome, mate.
What's up, Kevin? Yeah, but that's why I started traveling because there were things that I studied and wanted to see. Like I went to Cambodia because I got to see Angkor Wat. Went to I'm Buddhist also, so those things fascinated me a little more, and wanted to go to the temples at Ajutya, if I'm pronouncing that properly, in Thailand. So
Yeah, yep. How you doing, Big Kevin? Good to see you, buddy. Yeah, great one. And I mean, I might be tarring everyone with the same brush here, but it seems that the younger generation, and even here in Australia, they're not as I don't know. Their curiosity is not there. I mean, it could be because of the tech age. Everyone's got their head stuck in a bloody phone. How you doing, Ed? Good to see you, buddy. But to me, the younger generation now, they don't have that sense of adventure that my generation had. That's for sure.
I would say here in the states there wasn't very many adventurous people for the most part. I mean, it was pretty rare up until like my mid 20s for anybody to even think about traveling overseas or much less take a vacation somewhere else in the country.
Yeah, I'd say I guess because my father, mum's Australian, Irish descent, but my father immigrated to Australia, so and he had travelled as a young lad. Um, so I guess I was lucky in one way that I had dad's experiences, hearing about those as I grew up a little bit. About the only thing he never talked about was the war, and I don't blame him. So I always had a big interest in getting out and seeing the world. Yeah, well, Passport TV, a lot of guys in my generation, girls and guys, did that. But it seems that I'm not so sure that the generation coming through, like my son, he's 21, they don't seem to. I mean, they talk about it, but they don't actually go out there and do it.
I would be interested to see some statistics in that because, like I said, my generation, my age 46 now, just had a birthday a few days ago. I would say the majority of people my age, there was a very small percent. I'd say 10% actually wanted to explore, travel wise, no matter in country, even out of country. If you wanted to say out of country, it's probably even less than that.
Yeah,
And the little bit that I see, um, I would say the percentages are probably about the same because I do see some kids after college or after high school who want to do the Euro trip or the Southeast Asia trip, whatever it might be, South America, wherever they want to go. So
yeah, yeah. Passport TV, that happened a lot here because, as you guys probably know, Australia is very multicultural. We had a big influx from Italy and Greece and places like that in the early days in the UK. So I guess a lot of those people did travel back and forth. Yeah, I understand that, Ed. And I tell you what else happened, and maybe guys in lost age group probably had that issue, was that when Dick was talking about the American dream thing, and it was here in Australia as well, was you as a young couple, you buy a house and you end up just both working like crazy to pay off your house, and holidays seem to get put on the back burner. But I had a lot of friends that
well, I think your jobs have also kind of changed. Like for example, my dad's generation, my dad's 73, I guess, 72, something like that. Their generation was more about let's go work at this place, and you kind of work at one place your whole life and get your retirement package or whatever. Where nowadays, people move pretty. I noticed the younger generation is moving through jobs a lot faster. Always looking for advancement, willing to move to other countries or not other countries, other cities around the USA.
yeah, there was a generation there, and I can't really pinpoint it, but where they uh, really got into backpacking. Backpacking became a big thing of traveling around the world on the cheap. But um, I don't know if it's that big anymore.
I keep because as a former backpacker, I kind of keep up with it. I think it's still a pretty big deal, but it's more popular with Europeans than I noticed than anywhere else. Like during my backpacking days, um, I wouldn't run into too many Americans or Australians for that fact. It was usually always Europeans, definitely Irish and the whole United Kingdom people. You know, a lot of English people I'd always run into. You used to also see a lot of Russians also.
Yeah, well, Europeans are in a unique situation where that they've got so many countries that are all close together,
Yeah,
so you can travel around. It's a lot easier. You know, half an hour flight and you're in another country for most places.
yeah, depending on what part of Europe you live in, yeah, for sure.
Okay, grey one. It's the same. Backpacking has died in most parts. It's just luggage carriers now. Well, I think I've noticed that grey one, but I mean, it's probably without seeing stats on it. It's hard, but it just seems that way.
All right, for example, I don't technically backpack anymore, but when I of course I'm only traveling to Columbia these days, so we went to this national park there, and you actually stay in like hammocks, or you can bring tents and stuff like that. There was a shit ton of backpackers there from all around the world. Of course, I ran into a lot of Americans there, but there was a lot of other South Americans that were there, and Europeans. So I don't know if it's died, but I think maybe it's not in the forefront as much. And I think you with the new digital nomad type people, you don't necessarily see it as backpacking anymore. It's we're just going to travel, stay here for a while. I can do some work on my computer, and then move to a different area. Where backpacking was literally just you're traveling spot to spot, no work.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. It's it's probably we get a false sense maybe of what is really going on because we see a lot of the Southeast Asian vloggers, and that's where my interest is at the moment. And because it's so cheap in a lot of those countries, people really aren't living like what we expect a backpacker to. Um, you go to Southeast Asia, and
Yeah.
yeah, you can
And
live pretty well on a small budget.
yeah, so like when I was younger, when I first, obviously I started traveling around the USA, got a big country, and I did the backpacking type stuff. You go and travel around. You got your backpack. Sometimes your tent. Sometimes you stay in national parks. Sometimes you stay in hotels. Sometimes you stay in hostels. And that as you get older, you want to hang on from noise. As you get older, you want to kind of start making more money. You don't want to necessarily stay in tents anymore. So I started doing a combination of both. And I heard this term, which I guess it never stuck, but it was called flash packing. So what you do is you'll take your backpack, you'll stay in some remote places and occasionally stay in hostels, or like I was talking about, staying in hammocks next to the beach. But then the next week you might be in Bangkok or whatever, staying at a 5-star hotel. So my later years I started doing a combination, and like I said, the term I heard for it was flash packing, and that's what I used to do. I'd go to some remote area. I mean, I would stay in places where I had to use mosquito nets, and then a week later I might be in like when I was down in Davao, I went to this really remote place where the hot springs were, and I literally stayed in this like wicker rattan hut that the big bad wolf could have easily have blown down, in some swinging type bed with a mosquito net over me for like $15 for the night. But then I was back in Davos staying in like a 3-star, 4-star hotel.
Yeah, like I said, because I'm mostly watching what's happening in Southeast Asia, it probably gives you a false sense of really what's going on because you can be on a backpacker's budget and still um, stay in some pretty nice places and live a
And I'll
good.
tell you what, I stayed in hostels when I was traveling around Asia for $5 sometimes.
Oh, yeah, yeah, that it would have been cheap
And
as.
it was a lot of them were like shared type things. Some places weren't. Maybe $10, you might be able to get your own room, but you have to share the bathroom, that kind of stuff.
Passport TV, that would have, yeah, I wouldn't have slept at all, and I would have been out of there like a flash, mate, if I heard snakes and Jesus. But then again, I'm living in a country where we have the 10 deadliest snakes in the world, so um, yeah. But in Southeast Asia, I mean, you got some those was it crates, vipers, cobras. God, man, if I heard snakes slithering around where I was sleeping over there, I wouldn't be able to sleep. That would put the shits up me, man.
Yeah, I
I'm
used to
not
do
a.
a lot of I used to do a lot of the outdoorsy stuff, camp and all that stuff too. Don't do that quite as much.
I used to. So my father was an outdoors person, so he would fish and hunt, and my my younger brother loved fishing, so him and dad would go fishing because dad always had boats, and I would do the hunting. I'd go shooting and trapping with dad, and the amount of snakes you would come across, I used to hate it. I really hated it, but it was always good. I guess it's that father-son time more than anything, I guess. No, mambas are African. That you talk about the black mamba, which is deadly as. No, we've got things like the brown, the black, uh, tiger snakes, the deadliest snake in the world, which is the eastern inland taipan. Um, but yeah, but mamba is African. I actually used to watch a YouTube channel, a guy in South Africa who used to go chasing them around and removing them from people's houses. Yeah, I wouldn't want to be bitten by any deadly snake, but those mambas are pretty aggressive and they get pretty big. No, no, we don't have the black mambas. How you doing, BK? How you doing, buddy? Very envious of BK, who's off. Oh, you watch that show too, Passport? Yeah, yeah. There's a guy and his girlfriend that run around. He put himself in some pretty crazy situations. My YouTube channel is muted, so it's not me. I think Lost is on his phone as normal, or I'd say he would have it muted. Did you want to come on, Terry? You and BK are always welcome. Any of you guys are welcome to come on and join the chat. Very envious of BK, who is heading to the Philippines in March, to Mindanao, Davao, to be more exact. I think 3 weeks. I think. Ever a doctor who died in Singapore? No, no passport. I never seen that. But you have to be careful of snakes, especially the baby snakes here are actually worse than the adults. And they say that the smaller baby snakes are more dangerous because they can't actually control how much venom they inject, where adults can. So babies will just give you the bloody, you know, the full dose pretty well. So they're far more dangerous than the adults. I might have to check that one up. Passport TV. Um, I said I don't like snakes, but I like watching the documentaries. Yeah, that'd be horrible. Jesus. I tell you what would be worse. Okay, BK, yep. So you'll be gone for about 3 weeks, mate. Yep. Um, and I maybe Lost is probably can talk more about this one, but thanks, Passport TV. Is the anacondas, those snakes that will just crush you and then pretty well swallow you whole. That's terrifying to me. Yeah, yeah, true. Passport TV sharks are they're a worry here. Although thankfully the swing beaches here are pretty cool. They were pretty well protected by air patrols. They have lifeguards always looking out for them. The biggest risk here for sharks actually is if you're a spear fisherman or a surfer, because obviously surfers will go to more secluded. Yeah, yeah, I don't blame you. Um, you can actually go to Port Lincoln here in South Australia and jump in a shark cage. But I'm not so sure about that anymore because I've seen a shark smash through one of them cages and actually get into the cage with the divers. How you doing, Ganty?
I saw about a year ago that the thing is out in California somewhere, but one of these like cam models were doing some advertisement. She got one that's the shark cages, and I guess she let her foot kind of slip out, and one of the sharks bit her foot.
Oh shit!
Or maybe it was small enough where it kind of snuck in there. But you can watch that. Watch a porn star gets bit by a shark or something to that nature. It'll be
Yeah,
pretty crazy.
I mean, where they do it in Port Lincoln, they'll get some big ones, like 6 meters, which 6 meters is usually, the you're getting to the extreme size of a great white. Um, but about 2 years ago, at one of our local beaches here, Henley Beach, popular swimming beach, they had a 7 meter white pointer swim under the jetty. That's pretty shallow water too. Um, and to me, I mean, I've lived in Australia all my life. 7 meters, you very rarely see anything that close to shore or that big. That would have been bloody terrifying being around at that. Unfortunately, it's not that great whites will eat you. It's just usually that their bite will kill you through the, the blood that you lose through the bite. Bloody things are monsters. Yeah, well, I don't know what they're like over there, Passport TV, but over here, bull sharks are very aggressive, and we've got problems with them swimming up the like these canals that end up into fresh water, but they're swimming to up these canals now and making a nuisance of themselves, and the bull sharks very aggressive.
They that happens occasionally in the Gulf here, in Florida and Louisiana. I'm not sure about Texas. I haven't heard about any in Texas. Alabama, Mississippi got some coastline there too. Actually, there was a story out in I think it was Pensacola, about this. It was a pretty wild story. So this kid apparently got his arm bit off by a bull shark because the guy was out there fishing, and the story was they were out there swimming, and the bull shark came up, bit the kid's arm off, whatever. Somehow the guy caught the bull shark and was able to, they retrieve the kid's arm from the bull shark or whatever. And then, it was this big whoop-de-doo, that, the beach there was getting dangerous because the bull shark. I think it was like the second bull shark attack in a while. Well, come to
Wow.
find out, the guy was fishing, and they caught a bull shark. It was only like a 3 foot bull shark. It wasn't very big. They had caught it, and I guess they were trying to pull it in, and they were grabbing in the water. Well, the bull shark got a hold of the kid's arm, and that was
Yeah,
the actual real story versus the bull shark swimming up and just taking a bite out of a kid.
yeah. How you doing, BK?
I'm cool.
Speaking
I'm
of sharks in the water,
yeah, uh, happy to hear that you're going to the Philippines, mate. Really happy for you, buddy.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
about
I
time.
talked to my boss last week on Tuesday morning, and it was settled for from 11th March till the till the 31st of March. That's my holiday time, so I leave at 11th as well. I arrived at the 12th, and I leave back at the 29th.
Okay, cool. Yeah, Ed, that would be a deterrent, but I'm not sure if it'd stop them completely. And Grey One, I've heard that and actually seen that on documentaries. The cave with the sleeping sharks. That's pretty crazy. Uh,
I tell you, that's
I'm
one
not.
of the more spooky things I've ever done was a cave dive. I don't know if anybody's ever done that.
I've thought about it because they do it here in South Australia with the great whites, but after seeing some of those cages get smashed to pieces,
No, not
I'm not so
cave.
sure.
A cave. Cave. CAVE.
Oh, cave. Sorry.
I
Yep.
thought I thought this was you. Did you say cave or did you say cage?
No, no. I thought you said cage.
Oh, no,
See the
cave
cave
diving.
diving. I couldn't do it being enclosed in a cave.
Ooh, it's scary. So a couple of my friends at the time, they were more advanced divers than I was. Actually, I didn't have a cave certification to actually do it, but they did. and it was out in Denham Springs in Florida. And so you go down there. They have a key. Of course, I went. You're allowed to go diving there. I just wasn't supposed to go in the cave, but I did. But they told me it's like those little eels jump out, try to eat your flashlight. He said it's gonna be super dark. Your flashlight's only gonna make like a beam. It's not like gonna like spread out in like as if you were in a room. It kind of only projects kind of in a small radius, which it does, by the way.
Yeah.
And pitch dark. I'm talking about if you were to turn up the lights, you would think you went blind. But man, that was just a very spooky experience.
Yeah. Passport TV, you're right. The great whites are there. I mean, you're talking about something that could be 6 meters and ton and a half, and they really don't have much to fear. The only thing that I know that they will fear is an orca, a killer whale. And I've seen something off the coast. It was a documentary about the killer whales that were eating the livers out of great whites. And once these orcas started doing that, moved in this area and were killing the great whites, they actually avoided that area. So obviously they do fear something, but it's not us.
Yeah, I think it's because great whites usually are loners, right? They don't travel in packs, and the orcas will travel in packs. So
oh yeah, but one orca will tear a great white. And the thing is, the orca is so smart. They found a way that they can grab a great white in its mouth, turn it upside down, and the great white will actually go into a comatose state. It's kind of crazy, but yeah, a full-grown orca, a great white's got no chance against an orca. So I guess that's. I mean, the orca is the. Yeah, they are BK. They're really the apex.
Who would win in a fight? An orca or BK? The Belgianator or an orca?
Well,
if you want to find out, comment.
Well, if you want to find out, go to that SeaWorld in the US there, where they've had a orca. Didn't they kill one of the trainers there? Drowned him?
I don't know
about killed one, but I know
yeah,
a few
they
times
did.
they've
killed
them up before and
they've actually killed somebody.
Oh yeah, they very well may have.
They I think drowned one of the trainers there. But what they don't tell you is the treatment of the orcas as well. That they weren't treated all that well there, but that one orca, I think, that did that had a couple of issues with it. SeaWorld, yeah. I'm not sure, Passport TV, you probably know a little bit more, but I'm pretty sure that they had to stop keeping them, and I believe they're not allowed to get any new ones. Orcas would preach.
The SeaWorld in Florida had one of the guys who used to perform in the shows. He was like one of the divers. He would be jumping off the real high platforms and jumping into the water with them and stuff.
Yeah, look, I have issues with that, specifically orcas and dolphins and porpoises, because we're talking about intelligent creatures, and to keep them in small holding pens like they do is crazy. Yeah, that's right, Passport TV. It was aggressive, and they did continue. I think they tried to hide a lot of that too, but I think maybe one or two of the trainers actually came out with it and started talking about it. I think one guy was actually on Joe Rogan. I remember them talking about it. I know we do get walkers around Australia, New Zealand. I've never seen one. I mean, we get whales here off the coast of South Australia. You can go up to a place called Victor Harbour and see them. I've never seen an orca out in the wild. It'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. If you play with dangerous animals, there's like lions or orcas or something. If you play with it, you can get hurt or killed by it.
Yeah, look, I'm not so sure. Like with dolphins, porpoises, orcas, I don't know if we can say they're dangerous. I don't think they're the sort of animals that attack people in the wild. In fact, I've heard of orcas and dolphins saving people at
Yeah,
sea.
normally orcas don't attack people. Normally, because I shared once a video on Facebook, and there was a lady there, and she was swimming with 3 orcas in the wild.
Gunner, oh, how you doing?
Hey, Gunnar.
Passport TV. That would be terrifying because tigers are just one of those creatures that you can't mess with. I've seen a video. It is on YouTube of a tiger jumping up. Um, I think in India where they were sitting on top of an elephant, and the guy on top of the elephant actually lost a finger or two from this tiger jumping up that had no fear of him. Um,
Yeah, that's one thing you look out for. Even if it's like tamed and you had it since birth and even generations of it. The problem is a big, giant, large animal that just wants to play around with you can hurt you.
yeah, but in the wild, I don't think a tiger's ever going to want to play around with you.
Oh
Oh,
no, no,
okay.
I'm just saying when I mean you're playing with these enormously large animals like the orca. I remember the one that happened to SeaWorld where the orca grabbed the guy's arm and was just dragging him around. They were saying he was just being playful, but he's dragging the guy around all over the place and accidentally smashed him up to the wall. The guy got injured. I think maybe he broke his arm or something like that.
Yeah, look, I said and Passport said it in there too. I'm not a big fan of keeping those sorts of animals penned up. To me, these are sentient, intelligent creatures. So yeah, I don't like that idea of keeping them. I mean, here in Australia now, you don't get the circus animals like before. That's all been banned. Uh, and I have to agree with that. I don't want to see animals in small
Yeah,
cages.
yeah,
And even in a zoo, if you're going to put them in a zoo, you know, especially here in Australia where we got the space, make a big enclosure for them,
yeah. Of course.
and then that's fine. But um, I just,
So,
yeah, I don't
so
like it.
long, so long they have some running and walking space, yes, but in a cage, come on.
Yeah, grey one. I've seen two documentaries. One that was sort of anti those monks, and the other one that was pro the monks. Uh, my personal opinion is that in Thailand, if there wasn't those monks there, I think the tiger would be one of those. It would be disappearing from Thailand pretty quickly. So um, I don't have a problem with what they're doing, and at least they don't keep them chained up and locked up all the time. They actually do walk them like pets, and yeah,
BK, a word of advice, BK. You're coming to the Philippines right
Yeah.
in the middle of an election season.
Of the
And
what?
they have elections in May, and they are already opened up campaigning. And this is a very dangerous time. So if you're going to go to Mindanao and watch, just be very careful.
Well, I'm not going to Mindanao City.
Yes, you are going to Davao, which is Mindanao, which is the president's hometown,
Yeah,
which during the election is a very heated.
yeah, but I
Very,
cannot.
Just stay away. All you gotta do is stay away from like marches and protests.
stay away from crowds.
Yeah, of
That's
course, of
all I'm
course.
saying. Stay away from crowds because this is not the. I'll tell you, this time of year they started. Well, they started last week. It opened up. There's murders, there's killings all over this country during election time because elections here are not like anywhere else in the world.
There's
They're
probably
dirty.
some. That's probably good
Yeah, but
advice
there's
there.
foreigners aren't getting targeted in these political things for the most
But
part.
the foreigners go to the malls. The foreigners walk around the big cities, and they happen to accidentally be somewhere where one of these mayors or governors are and get blown away.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
just
yeah, for
really,
sure. You
really
know, I was in Manila for a big protest one time, and I just got on a bus, and I mean, here comes a big mob with the whole signs and the whole
I
9 yards, and they looked a little angry. I tell you what, I got a little scared
yeah,
them
you gotta
coming,
watch them though.
but they were just peaceful protesters, and they moved
You
really
never
fast.
know.
So
In this country, you never
yeah, I
know.
mean, I tell you, I honestly got
You never
a
know.
little nervous. I've never seen a big
Uh,
protest mob like that, and I'm in another country, so.
BK, why'd you choose to vow? This country's a big country. Why'd you choose to vow to go to?
A
Just for the
woman.
hell.
a woman.
A woman? Oh, okay. Good enough. That's it. A woman's good. Good reason.
And
Okay.
honestly, having traveled around the Philippines, the city of Davao, I personally liked it more than Manila and Cebu. So
I tell you, I've been in the Philippines an awful long time, off and on, and I will never go to Manila. I will not go to Davao. I heed the MSC warnings about Davao, about Manila, about, yeah, Mindanao. I heed those warnings. I don't care how many Americans live down there, say it's peaceful. That's one island I will not walk on.
To be honest, I mean, any country you go to, you've got to be careful what area you go to.
You have to
Right.
beware anywhere. Look, I went to London on my own for 5 days. Didn't got any second problem, and they also talk about big city there and London all the time. Come on.
I'd be more worried about being robbed or something in London than killed, though. BK, I'm not sure. As a tourist, you'd have too much trouble in the
Uh,
UK.
no, of course, no problem. UK, no problem. London, no
But
problem.
as a tourist, no matter where you travel, the main thing you got to look out is for the petty
Watch your
crime
back.
and the little and the scam stuff. Just
Uh,
be alert.
Yeah.
I
yeah,
mean,
but
obviously
that's
going
just,
to a place where people are shooting guns constantly,
uh, uh,
that's not advisable. But I'm sorry,
yeah,
Davao is just not a place where you know, they're blowing. I mean, they've had
they
bombs there on
do.
and off over years. Don't get me wrong, they have, but it's not like it's happening on a daily
Just a
basis.
couple months ago, they did in Davao. They just had one in Davao a couple months ago. They blew a bomb up. Jesus, they do it. It's still there. I'm just saying, BK, this time of year, be very careful because it's
yeah,
a bad time of year to come here.
exactly. Passport
Watch your
TV.
man.
It comes down to you know just be careful where you go and at what time you go to places.
Look, I'm not going out at night. Everything I'm going to do is going to be at daytime. I don't do pubs or bars or things like that. I'm not interested in things like that when I'm in the Philippines.
Boring.
Well, you can't go at night anyways. They have curfews in
I think
so,
a lot of it's common sense too.
Of
You know,
course.
stay away from the troubled areas. Stay if you're going to be getting around anywhere. Be with a
Look,
local.
I asked also on focus on Joey also once a time. Look, Davao, is it safe? He said some parts are safe and some parts I wouldn't go there as well. He said. So,
Yeah, yeah. Look
so
again.
just be
if you know
careful.
yeah, if you know people, you can always ask advice where to go and not where to go. Of course.
Look, nothing beats local knowledge.
Yeah,
So
I know.
if you've got someone there on the
Yeah.
ground,
So I got already two good friends there. There's the one that introduced me to the woman I know now. They are also two good friends together, and I know her as well. So and I also know Joey there in the area. So I can always ask advice where to go and not where to go, and they will guide me.
But you got the other one there too. He'll guide you.
Yeah, look, I'm not, I'm not a person. And the first time I went to the Philippines, I didn't know nothing about the Philippines. I didn't was 1 second in danger.
Yeah.
I'm also a little bit tired. Yeah, hey, be careful for that. Be careful for that. Be careful for that. Hey, look, I know what I can do, and I know what I can't do. I experienced that the first time. And you're all gone.
And that's because you're the Belgianator. I go where I want to go when I want to go.
Oh my goodness.
And where it ends it, I won't be back.
I tell you, I live in the boondocks. And, I'm going to tell you something about politics here. I live in the boondocks. Somebody got shot in our downtown. They had a political rally, and I just that was just maybe an hour, about half an hour before. I was right down that area. And that's I know in the boondocks too. This time I'm not in a
You
big
know what?
city.
Most of the stories I hear when people have problems with like government or the political scene are usually in province areas. I'm not talking about just the Philippines, which is just around the world. I've heard all the stories about Brazil and Colombia and different places because like there was a guy from Brazil. I don't know if y'all heard this story. He had to flee Brazil because because of the political situation. They kept asking for money, and he wasn't going to give money. They were ran him off, and he had to flee for his life. You don't hear about that. I'm sure it happens, but you don't hear about it near as much as people living in the city.
Well, this is about see where I live. The island I live on is just one big sugarcane field. Like Negros is just one big sugarcane field, and it was something to do with one of the candidates running something with sugarcane. Somebody blew his ass off because of the sugar. It was more, I think, of a mafia operation than anything. He was cutting on somebody's money with the sugarcane field. I don't know. But that happens a lot over here. Squirrels around the sugarcane.
Look,
With so much sugarcane field, there's always problems around sugarcane field. When I got mugged when I was down in the Dominican
Damn.
Republic, I was driving down the road in near the sugarcane fields,
Yep.
or right through the sugarcane field. Excuse me.
Yeah, like this island, the island I'm on, it's just one big sugarcane plantation. Negro, that's most of sugar in Philippines comes out of Negros. So this is it. It's either sugarcane or mountains. Part of the country's mountains. The other part's not much sugarcane.
So I see we lost Thunder. Did the stream stop?
No, the stream's still going.
Okay.
Is he in
it's
hang
been
up?
on, but I see him jumping in and jumping out. I think he have computer problems.
He might have. Yeah, he's out.
Yeah.
If it's
We're still alive.
if
Computer
it's
probably
shut down,
overheated again.
if it's quit the live stream, I will start one then.
That's still going. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's talk bad about him since he's not here.
Yeah, we always talk bad about him.
But
Yeah,
look,
he's
if
not here to defend himself, so we might as well.
So, BK, which way you coming, Manila to Davao? You're flying.
yeah, well, I took a flight. I paid directly my ticket just to Davao, but I start from Brussels to Amsterdam to Hong Kong, Manila, Davao, and that's
Yeah.
all in 22 hours time.
Yeah.
I pay a little bit more because the flight time was shorter. You know.
You're skipping Manila altogether, flying directly into Davao?
No, you have to.
No,
Davao's not international.
I land in
Davao's not
Manila.
an international.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
Davao's not an international airport. You have to go Manila.
Yeah,
Manila or
exactly.
Cebu. Either one,
Exactly.
Manila or Cebu. Take a pick.
Yeah.
Well, no, Davao has a couple because I flew from Davao to I think it was Thailand. No, I forget. Singapore maybe.
Really?
I don't
Yeah.
Oh, I
know.
don't know.
Well, that was also like 9 years ago. I don't know if they still have that option,
Yeah.
but
I don't know, but look, I took that way, and I paid €825 for the ticket, return ticket. And the flight over when I just go, it's around 22 hours, and when I come back, it's around 25 hours. I leave on Friday morning in the Philippines around 4:30 a.m. and arrive in Belgium around 10 o'clock p.m. So
Thunder,
still
I
on
would never
Friday.
kick you off. How could I kick you off your own show, Thunder? You should be able to get back in. Or go back into your you should better get back in your hangouts.
He's blocked from his own stream. Do you want the link, Thunder GT?
Yeah, tell them a link.